Alrighty, good afternoon, Mystic Quest fans. Hello, hello, Speed Gaming. Hope everyone is doing well. We have Game 3 of the SGL 2025 Mystic Quest Randomizer Tournament between This Dude Speaks and Lanxion. This is a round of 16 matchup. My name is Possum Morpheus here, doing the commentary for y'all. Thank you again to Speed Gaming for letting us have the majority of our races on this here channel. We also have Hitox doing the tracking in the background, who I will tag in every so often for their commentary insights as well. An absolute expert runner at this here game. But we have two very good runners here. They're going to a game 3, so they are obviously well matched. This particular flag set, this is pretty much anything can be anywhere. From a spell perspective and item perspective, they are also looking for sky fragments. They can be anywhere from 16 to 32 required in a seed. They've got 21 required today. And the seeds themselves will generally take somewhere between 30 and 40 minutes. It's a very fast flag set, the fastest that we have on average had in a Mystic Quest tournament, a primary Mystic Quest tournament anyway. So zoom, zoom. Everybody goes fast, and going to be looking for some strong characters, companion-wise, some strong spells, strong gear, and see just how quick we can get the job done here. Of note, there's a lot of things that have been toggled, and the companion spell books are one of them. Everyone has access to a big spell, but because of resistance shuffle, Earth stayed the same, but Fire projectile rolled into fire for weakness, so that means that on the monster refights, the boss refights, will absolutely get vaporized by fire. Our runners are going to be looking for Phoebe, but they don't have to look far because they start with her. Phoebe in particular has Flare at level 14, Exit at level 15, and your companion is going to be the same level as your starting character, your primary, your main character, plus 5 levels. So realistically, we only need to get to level 10, and Phoebe will be fully online. So I would expect our runners to want to find some seeds to replenish magic, get those levels early, get Phoebe going, and just absolutely tear through this bad boy. It does look like we're getting a little bit of grinding on This Dude Speaks side, and we're going to get some exploring on Lanxion's side. Has found the volcano a staple of the Foresta region because it requires no items for gating. So this is the most common location to be in Foresta in all of these matches. You're going to see Volcano in Foresta probably 95% of the time. Just consider it part of like a normal looting cycle or something like that from any other randomizer you might be familiar with. If you haven't seen this one before, it is akin to, going to Corneria or Topher in Final Fantasy I, or going to, the Watery Pass or Eblan Castle in Final Fantasy IV, or going to Narsh or Figaro in Final Fantasy VI, etc. So you may be familiar with other randomizers, maybe not this one per se, but those are the types of things that you'd be seeing with the Volcano in particular. We do pick up an Apollo helm, I believe that was, and also see some noble armor, so some decent armor here. May have been noble armor, not the Apollo helm. I may have misseen that because they are fairly similar color-wise, but some decent armor nonetheless. Status resist and element resist are very important, so our runners are always going to be happy to see those things. Also, a claw being picked up is a big deal. That opens up a lot of early checks. Both in Lava Dome, potentially Wintry Cave, as well as Kaij Temple, a lot of just different places you can go with a claw. So both runners clearing out this volcano. This dude speaks up 1 level because of that early grind, but otherwise very similar early on, not too much divergence, which is good for us as viewers, because maybe we'll get a very close game 3. We also see Sealed Temple. There's 2 boxes here that are ungated. You don't need anything to go through them. And we see another claw, the Charm Claw. Cool thing about weapons and armors, things like that, accessories in Mystic Quest. A claw, the base one, will have some status effects tied to it, like sleep and things like that. But when you upgrade, in this case to a Charm Claw, you will get a +5 magic boost, which is really nice. That will help the main character try to keep up with Phoebe. It won't actually keep up in magic damage with Phoebe, but we'll try. Also gives a couple of extra status impacts. Unfortunately, our status rolls were garbage this time around, so we don't have anything that we can exploit except Sleep to Stone, and that is not going to impact any of the refight bosses except Skullaris. So effectively, the claw shenanigans are out for this seed, which is a little bit unfortunate. We do see a Lava Dome dive from Lanxion here. Does see multiple red boxes in here. This is not terribly surprising. Lava Dome has about 30 chests in it, and you're going to get a ton of value out of it. We also see this claw giving access to a couple of checks in Wintry Cave, as we talked about. Getting jumbo bombs out of this is pretty enormous, especially depending how Lava Dome splits off. If it is gated by bombs in some way, that will give this dude Speaks an advantage on the routing. It also gives us some early AoE, so those bombs are a really nice way to just be able to go through and clear early content. So Wintry Cave being very, very big for this dude Speaks early on. We'll see if that helps him get through some fights a little bit faster. Also, shoutouts to both runners for having various random sprites. So one of the most interesting features of this randomizer is you have a ton of different sprites you can play as. So we have Rydia from Final Fantasy IV on Lanxion's side, and we have a chicken on this dude Speaks side. Not sure what game that's from. If anyone has any ideas, Hatox, if you have any ideas, this is not exactly expert commentary insight, but if you have an idea what that chicken's from, feel free to toss that in. And we do see a lot of red boxes here in Lava Dome. A Cupid Locket is huge. That protects against the confusion status, which is probably the most devastating in the game. So that is a huge pickup for what I assume will be both of our runners. And Fried Potato pointing out that we left Wintry Cave without doing the full clear of it. That also may be a choice based on levels, that we might be trying to wait till we get exit to go all the way through and just kind of go through and just be able to exit in and out real fast from doing the rest of Wintry Cave there. It's only about a half dozen more boxes, and it's the type of thing where maybe we're trying to just, not have to worry about all the walking. But we see a sand coin, a river coin, so multiple points of progression available in this Lava Dome. The big difference remains those jumbo bombs at the moment, though. I think Lanxion is about done with their Lava Dome. I think they have one more pathway to go through. I doubt we'll see a Hydra fight here. I can't imagine that's something we'd be looking at. But on Lanxion's side, definitely through more of this Lava Dome so far. But this dude Speaks again, up those jumbo bombs, which really will help the clear speed going through Lava Dome. Jumbo bombs are just going to be like a static 120 to 150 damage to everything. And bombs also will have some value later on, especially if we find megas. Mega grenades being the best bomb, because air roll to bomb as well. So if we don't find flare for our main character, during those down phases for the Z fight, we can throw mega grenades for about 1200 actual damage. And yeah, we see this dude Speak saying no Hydra, thank you very much. Lanxion saying no Hydra, thank you very much. This is not surprising at all. Unless you get to the point where you need to fight Hydra, you're not fighting Hydra. There are certain circumstances where you do have to fight Hydra, but typically not on a 21 shard seed. It's just generally not a high enough quantity for 21 sky fragments to warrant needing access to Fireberg or something else by way of the the Hydra tile in the Fireberg area. It would be very unusual for that to be the case. I believe Lanxion is done with Lava Dome, and yeah, they are in fact on their way out. Gonna head over to check on the other things that This Dude Speaks has done, so a little bit of retracing of steps. We did pick up a Mobius crest. I believe we're looking for seeds on Lanxion's side as well, just trying to open a couple of random brown boxes there. There's a pretty low chance you'll find seeds in random boxes, but it can happen. The better chance is when you do NPC checks, such as this Phoebe turn-in. Phoebe basically will give you a 1 in 4 chance here of getting seeds, but unfortunately just heal potions. Those bombs, Lanxion probably a little bit sad to see them, simply because they are going to know that they had AoE available. And we do see Mega Grenades popping out on This Dude Speaks side. So the Hydra door that Lanxion unlocked but did not go back to, only one box in there, and it's Mega Grenades, and that is potentially enormous for This Dude Speaks. Those Mega Grenades represent a lot of extra content that This Dude Speaks now has access to. So that is a really big deal. We cannot understate the importance of those Mega Grenades, and that's simply because This Dude Speaks went left and Lanxion went right, and the order in which they got to the Hydra door switch versus the Hydra door was swapped. So this is something that can happen in these. We do see Lanxion diving a little deeper in here, but nothing really too exciting in the rest of Wintry Cave. So if This Dude Speaks fades the rest of that, could be pretty interesting. And this is our last path that is blocked by those Mega Grenades, and it is just the pointless ledge. Unlucky. But you got to check it. Unless you know for sure that that is not going to be what you need, you have to take a look at that. But This Dude Speaks also knows that they are not going to have to come back into Lava Dome at all, that they can full clear, be done, leave nothing else to chance. The question is, are they going to go back for Wintry Cave now or not? Meanwhile, Lanxion opting to go River Coin side instead of Sand Coin side, and that is going to take them up into the Fireberg area. We have the Libra Temple, we have a red box, just a mask. We've already done the Volcano, doesn't matter. Gemini Crest in that Libra Temple, though, could be relevant. We have 2 towns up here, so that could have been a deciding factor or a driving factor in Lanxion coming up here. The towns are important, especially if you find Fireberg. That is very nice if you can pick up some seeds, if we have money for it. I don't know if our runners have done that. We have an Aegis Shield and a Cupid Locket, though. Aegis Shield up here is pretty huge, and This Dude Speaks does opt to fade the rest of the Wintry Cave. So again, I do wonder if that is a byproduct of wanting to wait until we get exit to go back and do that. And we do have divergence here. This Dude Speaks going to Aquaria, Lanxion going to Fireberg region, and we see a Tristram hanging out in Floresta. This Dude Speaks found a 1 of 1 on a gold tile as well. So if Fireberg is in the Aquaria region, never mind. Aquaria is locked by the Wakewater, as is Windia. That is awkward. So both of our 2 primary towns, check-wise and warp-wise, are locked. So we may have some crest shenanigans in this seed. One of the many levers that have been toggled in this particular flag set is the ability to randomize the crests and where they go, and I think we're getting that in pretty full effect here. We do see the Sun Coin was picked up by This Dude Speaks as well, and that will give them extra access to things. The Wintry Temple, wherever that is, that also represents a potential logic break. Now, I say logic break in the sense of it could still be logical access in this seed, but it would not be considered by most runners your typical way of advancement. That Wintry Temple, if you exit out of it once Phoebe gets it, you might be able to get access to that wake waterlocked region. We'll have to take a look and see what's there next time a runner shows us that area. Lanxion has found the Bone Dungeon, though, in Fireberg. Makes quick work of Flamerous Rex. 2 red boxes hiding there. And we also see a live forest and level forest back to back. So that is some interesting stuff. All of the forests in Aquaria. Not too bad, though. No Dragonclaw is going to cut down on what we can loot here. But as long as we're able to get a couple of boxes out of this, this would be a fruitful dive for This Dude Speaks. Big thing we're missing is a sword right now. Neither runner has seen a sword. So the big difference is really those mega grenades so far. We have Exit, though, that's been picked up on Lanxion's side, and that is generally good, but because we have Phoebe, it's actually less relevant. She's going to pick that up in just a couple levels anyway. So it's cool, but in this particular seed, you would have preferred that to be something else, to be completely frank. We do see Gaia armor, though, as well being picked up in Bone Dungeon, so a lot of cool stuff coming out of Bone Dungeon. And we'll see if that's anything that's able to propel Lanxion, or if we end up in a situation where those mega grenades are pivotal. Looks like we have some paralysis coming out from these enemies here. They rolled high enough to survive a white cast, at least the one ninja did. And so now we have to rely on physical hits. Unfortunately, Lanxion gets unlucky and misses, so toggles to bombs. Which is a great segue to talk about how bombs are really cool in the fact that they never miss. Bombs always hit. Axes have no in-battle effect. The claws give you +5 magic for their upgrades, and the swords give you +5 speed for your upgrades. So it's a nice feature where you have those basic weapons and you get those upgrades as you go. We do see the Wake Water pop out. The Wake Water is cool. We now have access to get to Fireberg and Windia. So this Bone Dungeon dive in Fireberg definitely seems to be the play so far based on what we found. The big difference is going to be that Sun Coin that popped out and the Mega Grenades from going into the Aquaria region. So we'll see how thorough Lanxion is with everything once they get to the Aquaria region. Between our runners, we haven't found too many shards yet. I think together they're probably at about 15, so not really anything to write home about there. We do see the Gidra chest has a box in it, and we will not find out what that box is. We will not be beating Gidra and doing that check for either runner. I will bet a large sum of GP on that outcome. So, unsurprisingly, Lanxion heading over to the Aquaria region has everything fully unlocked. This will be nice for them because they won't have to worry about doubling back, while This Dude Speaks is going to have to go over to Fireberg, then back to Aquaria. So routing is going to work out actually a little bit better time-wise here for Lanxion. Though both runners probably feeling fine at the moment. Neither one has made any egregious errors. The big thing that both runners are missing is the life spell. For those unfamiliar with Mystic Quest, life is the be-all end-all white magic spell. It's incredible. You are able to go through and basically do a full heal for both magic and your health. So think of an elixir effectively. But you just don't get the spell back for that one life cast you did. It can be used either by the companion or the main character, and the companions will always have it. So really neat to have access to that life spell. Cures all those statuses like confusion, like stone, cures poison, basically cures everything when used in battle. So just a really, really powerful effect. And this dude speaks, gets rid of Phoebe and picks up Tristan. Okay, I have to take a look at this. Alright, that is really interesting. So we're getting rid of our exit caster. We are taking Tristan, who has Flare now. We don't know where Phoebe would be to get her back. I would want to keep this Phoebe. She has Flare and Exit, and that Flare is just going to be stronger than Tristan's. The thing we would lack is speed. But, wow, that's a choice that we're going to have to ask this dude speaks about afterwards. Meanwhile, Lanxion does now have the Sun Coin, has a giant axe, basically picking up all the kind of pieces that this dude speaks already did. Also, we did see Kaylee hanging out in the Kaij Temple there. We're not going to be taking Kaylee, though, so no worries there. Shard count, I believe we're at 12 for this dude speaks. Looks like 17 for Lanxion. So Lanxion just 4 sky fragments away. Between the level forest and the alive forest, we probably will get to very close, if not all the way to those 21. Falls Basin also has 2 technical checks, 1 box and 1 boss. Typically, you won't see an actual fight with the ice golem, excuse me, the snow crab, not the ice golem. That would be Ice Pyramid. So that's not going to be a big issue. The exit spell to get out of the alive forest is going to save Lanxion quite a bit of time, where this dude speaks had to walk it out. This dude speaks does have exit now, though, so we'll save potentially a little bit of time in the Fireberg zone, depending on order of operations. But I think Lanxion has a bit of an advantage at this point, and has Phoebe instead of Tristan, so we'll do more damage, but will be more susceptible to things like instant death than this dude speaks. Tristan is a safer choice, Phoebe is a faster choice. Just depends what our runners are looking to do. And we have a very quick exit out of the alive forest from Lanxion there. Going to probably hit the Sun Coin area. I don't think we've seen Ice Pyramid yet, but we can't get in it because we don't have a sword. Check the vanilla arrow box. And it is a sky fragment, so I believe we are now at 18 to 15 on sky fragments. And XP seems to be desired by both runners at this point, which makes sense. They are kind of in that pre-Dark King climb scenario where they need to figure out how they're going to go about their business at the end of this thing. And that Wintry Temple we talked about earlier, that could have warped our runners with the exit spell over to this Windia area. So that is an interesting point there. 3 red boxes behind what would be Jin, including the Dragon Claw. So Dragon Claw was accessible then pretty early on in this one via exit from the Wintry Temple. That's an interesting development in an alternate universe that we don't live in. But we are up to 19 fragments now on Lanxion's side, and has a good fight here for XP with that fire spell, or that flare spell, if you will. And Sir Link-A-Lot in chat mentioning they would hit up Pazuzu's Tower as well. If Pazuzu's Tower is in Windia here, absolutely, you would be able to get a lot of good fights in there. You'd be able to get the ability to go through and, just kind of solve all of your endgame woes, and you don't need a sword to really do anything in Pazuzu's Tower. Looks like we are going to take a couple of fights, so we know Air translated to fire, and any of those Windia enemies that are weak to air are just going to get blown up by flare from Phoebe. So I like that choice to fight. Looks like we get a Moon Helm. That actually solves our last bit of weakness that we needed. So this is pretty huge. That gives us fire resist, lightning, water, wind, all of our status effects, sleep, and we see Phoebe in Windia. That's very interesting to note on this Dude Speaks side. So if they want Phoebe back, they do know where Phoebe is. So that's a big piece of info. But we are 20-17 on fragments. Lanxion +3 says, thank you, but no thank you. Going to opt out. And we must have gotten our last fragment there on Lanxion's side, and I must have missed it, and is just going to head on through. I am a little intrigued by this because that ninja fight that we walked by, one flare would take out those ninjas since they're air weak. That would have been a free 2000 XP. So looks like Lanxion just heading through, though. This is going to be a pretty low-level Dark King climb. We certainly have the character to do it in Phoebe, but this takes a lot of gumption. And a paralyzed Phoebe. This is the potential risk of Phoebe being involved, is that she is kind of slow, and that miss on Quillerus basically dooms this fight. This is going to be nearly impossible to recover from at this point. Phoebe doesn't have any resistances. Any status resist at this point. That white cast might get it done though. Oh, 391, that's not quite enough. Do we get there? No, by 11 HP Lanxion goes down, unfortunately. So a little bit of time given back to this Dude Speaks. But that earlier exit spell really did make up a ton of time for Lanxion. Unfortunately, Phoebe paralyzed again. Not ideal. Six pseudopods. That is going to put us in Quillerus being a bully mode. Lanxion finding out the hard way that in this particular case, speed kills, and those ninjas are fast, and they are mean in this situation. So I do like this. We're going to defend first, and that way we can eat the paralysis that everything keeps trying to do to Phoebe. Kill the ninjas because we're just going to wipe them out with fire. And now we should be fine to just Dragon Claw through. Need one more shard on this Dude Speaks side. But Lanxion is through. And does have enough seeds for this climb as well. This boss we're probably not going to be taking too many chances with. This is just going to be exit. Or not. Looks like we're going for a Dragon Claw on it. I have to pull up my little cheat sheet here. I did not think you could... Yeah, this boss is sleep immune. So that's not going to be able to accomplish much, unfortunately. With sleep transitioning to stone here. Oh no, excuse me, confusion to stone. My apologies. I had the wrong thing. On my mind there. But Lanxion is through the stone golem. And we have, let's see, earth is static here as earth. Air to bomb, and then water to axe. So we can use a giant axe, we can use bombs, we can use the meteor spell, or we can use the flare spell. Any of them will do full damage here. So I would expect we'll just see white flare, and then when we run out of white, we can use probably just the axe here would be the optimal way through, I would imagine. Another boss with paralysis, though. Definitely spooky, and we do see this dude Speaks takes a wipe on their grind fight. Looks like they're trying to grind Lamias here, which is fine, except these particular Lamias look like they had Petrify, and they're also not dying to a single spell. So this is not really great for this dude Speaks. While we get another boss down on Lanxion side, very quickly dispatching that Hydra, the easiest of the 3 fights so far, which is unusual. But now for the big bad bird, which would generally be the scary part, except projectile rolled into fire for this one. What that means is that if it's projectile weak, which the bird is, it will now be fire weak. So you're going to see like 4,500 damage flares coming out of Phoebe here. It's going to be great. 4,834. Gotta love it. This is just hold A, throw the spell, hope you don't die, and get through this fight really fast. Unfortunately, there's a couple physicals here from Ze, and so Lanxion now knows this. It's a relatively quick wipe, all things considered, but we should be through this without too much trouble. Sometimes you just try to push and be done with it, and sometimes you're fine, and sometimes, you know, you take a loss and then you have to regroup. So this is just going to be Benjamin or Rydia on cure duty, and Phoebe throwing those big shiny flares at the bird. This dude Speaks stopping to sightsee a little bit here. Going to take on a couple of ninjas, look for some levels of their own. Does have Tristan who's outspeeding, which is great, but Lanxion is outspeeding even faster. They are through all of their refights, just about the 30-minute mark. So kind of going back to the start of this, we said a lot of these seeds take 30 to 40 minutes. We are right in that ballpark. Lanxion getting their complimentary 25 seeds before the final fight. We don't get a save before the final fight, so this is Lanxion full committed here. But we do have level 16, and we have Flare on Phoebe. So as long as Dark King is not too rude, we should be okay. This dude Speaks also getting the paralysis treatment from Flamerus, so the equalization there of unfortunate moves. Looks like we also have Stone. And then there's a Doom Powder, so yeah, this is just a nasty set of enemies that this dude Speaks is going to have to deal with, and probably going to take a wipe here, sadly. So, Scholaris 3, Runners 1 to this point, just by the way for those keeping score at home. Big physicals in Tier 2 of this Dark King. That's Chew Off for 611 damage. If that crits, that's scary. Thankfully, there's some other moves in there that are not nearly as bad. Phoebe doing a casual 2200 damage, as one does. And on to Tier 3 and 4 we go. Looks like we got some Scott Pilgrim action here. One of the many, many Dark King sprites. This dude Speaks has dispatched Flamers and onto the Stone Golem. Lanxion currently getting stomped by Scott Pilgrim. No life, level 16. Always a risk on these flags with these Dark King fights. They can get very scary, but we are seemingly okay, at least for now. Looks like we are going with Save the Queen strats. Benjamin basically just casting Cure every turn, and Phoebe just casting Flare every turn. So this is just to mitigate as much damage as humanly possible. at all times. Make it so Phoebe can just keep doing the damage. 2200 is no small amount, with Dark King set between 50 and 100%. Maximum 40,000 damage, which would be about 18 rounds. Minimum about 20,000 damage, which would be like 9 rounds. Looks like we got kind of a mid-roll here. So, that was a crit, I believe, on the main character there on Lanxion's side, because that was a 755 damage windstorm, which should not be hitting that hard when we have Gaia armor. So I think that was a crit. But we are into phase 4 of this Dark King fight. The cures are still being spammed. The Benjamin has gone down. If Phoebe gets crit here, we get a wipe, so this just has to be no crit and get through. So no crit. Good stuff. Benjamin goes down again. There's some heavy moves at the end of this Dark King fight. This is a pretty mean tier 3 and 4. One rogue critical, and that would be all she wrote. The defense down is actually making a big difference here, because it's causing Benjamin to get one shot by things where Benjamin normally wouldn't. Hydra is down on this dude Speaks side, so just Zoe remains before Dark King, but there is no more Dark King remaining on Lanxion's side. That is a GG to Lanxion, who is going to be moving on to the round of 8. Taking out this dude Speaks in 3 games. With an official time of 34 minutes and 35 seconds. GG's to Lanxion. This dude Speaks says, I'm not even on Dark King yet. Let's just go ahead and call it here. And that is a perfectly reasonable decision. And we'll see if we can get both runners in for an interview. I do see this dude Speaks. Let's see if we are going to get Lanxion as well. Okay, no Lanxion, so we do have this dude Speaks. I believe joining us in the booth now. There they are. GG's to you. This dude Speaks on a wonderful series with Lanxion.
GG's, yes, thank you.
So yeah, that was an interesting little seed there. You go left, Lanxion goes right, kind of made a big difference in this one. Going to Fireberg first for Lanxion gave them exit sooner, gave them the wake water sooner, meant they didn't have to kind of like double dip and do things. What was your driving point to go Aquaria first, and then just kind of thoughts in general on the seed as you were kind of going through it?
I just thought Aquaria was going to be a little bit more of a safer route, leveling wise, also because I think at the time I started hitting Aquaria, I was only like 4 or 5. So I just figured I could get some easy levels going through that section first. But obviously, the way that it went, I should have went Fireberg.
Yeah, definitely. So going through the entire seed, kind of what was your mindset, your thought process? Was there any point in which you said, oh, I feel okay on this. Oh, I feel behind. Oh, I don't feel anything. I'm just racing. I don't have feelings. What was kind of your thought process throughout the whole thing, just in general?
Just in general, the whole thing is just try not to screw up, try not to make too many mistakes, don't wipe if at all possible, and just run at the best pace that I can.
Definitely, and your pace has certainly gotten a ton better in this tournament. I know that when we were starting out on the flags, 34 minutes, 35 minutes, 30 minutes, 30, anything under 40 kind of seemed like, well, how are we going to do this? And now we regularly, yourself included, are seeing times in the low 30s or even high 20s for these flag sets. Just kind of take us through, like, how has this flag set been for you? Have you enjoyed it? Obviously this is the end of the tournament run, but certainly the flags are still going to be around. Do you feel like these have been beneficial in any way to help you grow as a runner? Have you enjoyed them? Are they the worst thing ever? Kind of just take us through in general your thoughts on those.
So I love this flag set. I think it's amazing. It really puts the streamers to the test. Any runner that's running this will go through and just have to put their mind to where it's going, follow the clues, which is how I always end up running anyway. Follow the items, and then just go from there. There is a chance that you could get early exit, get early flare, early life, anything along those lines. This is where you're going to want to try to build yourself up, build your confidence up, because going forward, no matter what seat set we have in the future, this is something that you can learn from and take away from.
Excellent. Very well said. The one major question I want to ask about in this particular seed for you, because it was relatively straightforward, other than, sometimes the route just doesn't route in the way you want it to, and that happens to all of us. But the one major decision I wanted to ask about was Tristram over Phoebe. Was that just to have the immediate flare and Tristram's speed / instant death resist? Or was that more of a decision for some other reason that I may not have thought of?
No, you're exactly on with that. I was going to go with Phoebe until I saw Tristram, and then I was like, you know what? I have better chances with Tristram. I have better luck with Tristram, so I was just going to take him along.
Fair play. Yeah, that was the thing that I thought could be the case. I know that the exit on Phoebe is quite a big draw. I personally love having exit on someone, but I think even at that point you were 3 levels away, maybe 4 levels away, so it wasn't going to be immediate. So it definitely makes sense to get that flare, have that power, because you were just relying on white from the main character, which it's a good spell, but it doesn't kill even everything in Fireberg. So certainly makes sense to make that change to give yourself that instant power boost. So I guess the kind of last question I have for you before we let you enjoy the rest of your day, my friend. This is unfortunately the end of the run for you in the tournament, not without a great fight put up, but got any great plans where we can, catch you streaming this or other things? Any other games you're looking at? Any other randos? What's on the docket for This Dude Speaks?
So I think since I have pretty much the rest of the year now for Mystic Quest here, I think I might pick up the Final Fantasy Randomizer and see where it goes from there. There's a couple of other randomizers I'm thinking about, but I think Final Fantasy Randomizer might be where I go.
Makes a lot of sense. The primary developer for Mystic Quest Wildem has a background in Final Fantasy Randomizer as well, so a lot of the skills are going to translate from this one to that one. You also have the Duckling Derby in Final Fantasy Randomizer. Their winter tournament, I believe, is coming up right around, or it might be their fall league. It's one of them's coming right up. Hard to keep track of so many different randomizers, but there's always stuff going on in FFR. It's a huge and wonderful community, so they will be blessed to have someone as awesome as yourself join them over there. So that's cool to hear about. But that is gonna do it for us today here on Speed Gaming. So thank you once again, Speed Gaming. Always appreciate y'all having the Mystic Quest community on the channel, letting us have these events and these races for our audience, for your audience, for everybody to get some eyes on and some ears to hear. So thank you again to Hatox for pushing all the buttons, This Dude Speaks, and Lanxion for doing the racing. And once again, I have been Possum Morpheus, and I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of the races on Speed Gaming today.